Front pages of the papers, and Prince Harry, he dominates most of them today. The Sun with summing it up there, Harry home. Many papers like the Mail talk about his comments that he killed Taliban fighters, and the Mirror has the same quote and shows the Prince in the cockpit of his Apache helicopter. We go to the Star, similar stuff as well. Harry, I've killed Taliban. Telegraph says that the Prince, and he's known as Captain Wales when deployed, puts his skills as a helicopter gunner down to a love of computer games, and that's the comment that's creating a lot of controversy today. The Eye features Harry's comment that his brother William should also be allowed to serve in Afghanistan, and The Guardian has the Prince, a picture of him there, running to his helicopter. Here to talk about all of that is the Royal Historian Kate Williams. Good to see you, Kate.
Good morning, good to see you.
And our Royal Correspondent, Paul Harrison. Kate, what is the impact historically of having a royal at war? Is it more problematic than it's worth?
You're absolutely right. I mean, historically, that's been the job of a royal. That's, of course, why we don't have queens in the primogeniture, because it's the job of a royal, the king, to lead us to war with all these feudal knights behind us. Things have changed, but now things are very different. And, of course, this is a big question for Harry. He said in his interviews, I would prefer to be out there with the troops on the ground, but that's just not possible. That's just not safe. He needs too many other troops to protect him. And simply, he's in somewhere like Afghanistan, he's, of course, a target, and he's a big scout target, which is why one reason why the army chose to put him in the Apache helicopters, which are incredibly safe, and we've never lost one.
But I reckon he'll be a bigger target now, Paul, with this admission that by piloting that helicopter, he's a gunner. He's a gunner in the
co-pilot gunner. Yeah, he sits in the front seat, his hands on the trigger, and that's
he's
why
fired it.
He's fired it, and he, in a roundabout way, not entirely directly, but he admits that he's taken lives, he's killed in Afghanistan. It's quite interesting because it'll be interesting to see how that is received, I suppose, by the general public. Will they find that a little too macabre?
I'm more worried about how it's received by the Taliban and Al-Qaeda, really.
Yeah. Could even stoke the fire.
This is the question, isn't it? Because there was a son at Christmas who said Harry's killed, and that was rather kind of washed over.
It was,
and
yeah.
now here he is saying, well, and he said, well, everyone's fired. You know, obviously he's pretty much far too far away, really, to see exactly what he's shooting at necessarily. But there's this question that will it fire the flames, and will it make him more of a target here?
Yeah. Kate, you could see from the interview he accepted the camera crew being around him. He was begrudging of it, obviously. Historically, again, do the media usually know when and where royal members were at war, how they were deployed, and what sort of responsibility have they to show in actually highlighting where that member is?
Well, you're exactly right, Eamon. He was begrudging. He said, you know, really, you're here because this is the deal. He would rather not be doing the interview. And there was a sort of undercurrent of resentment against the media throughout the interviews. But it's very crucial. I think people want to see Prince Harry at war. Of course, a lot of taxpayers' money has gone into training him to fly these helicopters. So people want to see it. They want to see him as an active royal. And I think it does do quite a lot for the royal brand.
I'm not sure
really,
people do want to see him as an active royal. I'm just looking at reaction. I don't know what Charlotte sees about this today.
Well,
people are quite annoyed that his actual job may have been compromised, or now may be compromised, because of media reporting.
Yeah, it's also interesting, people talking here about, you know, they're proud of the fact, though, that he has been able to speak out in this way, in a sense, and I was just wondering whether it sort of brings the public closer to the royals that we haven't seen previously, that he is able to speak out in this way like a normal person, to speak about the details of his job.
Yeah, so we had a lot of detail. We've never seen that much detail from Prince Harry in interviews. You're absolutely right. I mean, I think this is people. He's very popular. People like him a lot. We saw that in the kind of Las Vegas incident. That essentially most people said, well, that's, you know, he's just a young man. Let's just forget about him. He's a popular member of the royal family.
He can do no wrong, right?
I think it was rather I think people feel a lot of sympathy for him. But he obviously feels he wants to continue his role in the army. But that's going to be more and more unlikely he's going to be able to do so. It doesn't look like he's going to be going back.
It looked like he was trying to get a lot off his chest as well. This has all been, in a sense, building up over months. You've got Las Vegas as well, of course. He didn't like the way the media treated him at that stage. He felt he should have had a certain amount of privacy. And all the way through his interview, whether he's talking about Kate, whether he's talking about his brother being allowed to be back in, or at least to go to Afghanistan, which is controversial in itself. There's always a media angle there, and he's always trying to scratch that issue.
We'll hear from him now, Paul, as he talks about the new royal baby on the way.
obviously I'm thrilled for both of them. It's about time, and I can't wait to be an uncle. I think it's very unfair that they were forced to publicise it when they were, but that's just the media for you. And yeah, I mean, I literally am very, very happy for them, but I just only hope that she and him, but mainly Catherine, maybe hopefully that she gets the necessary protection to allow her as a mother-to-be to enjoy the privacy that comes with. And yeah, I seriously hope that's going to be able to happen. I had a chat to them. I didn't send a letter of congratulations like most of the papers. How any of the papers think that they know the relationship between myself and my sister-in-law is quite remarkable, but they're wrong as always. Yeah, I spoke to my brother and her, and both very well and both very happy, obviously.
Well, actually, you can believe he didn't send a letter of congratulations. His own dad has complained that he doesn't write. But unlike some royals, like maybe Prince Edward, wasn't a natural fit in the military, he seems to be a natural soldier, doesn't he?
Yes,
Yeah.
he seems very happy there, doesn't he? He said they just treat me like Captain Wales, and I think it's a very interesting comment from his Major General, who was saying, you know, essentially Harry has a relative anonymity in the theatre of war, and he was saying in his interviews how upset he was by people with camera phones who can snap him all the time. That's not going to happen in Camp Bastion. It's a secure place. They're not going to take photos and tweet them of each other. So he's private. He's with the other men. They treat him. He can sit there playing Xbox.
To a degree. I mean, I think he does also
like,
talk about the fact that heads do turn when people see him for the first time. Look, it's Prince Harry. He does joke rather funnily. He says, "Well, that's probably because I'm ginger."
Nothing wrong with that.
Nothing wrong with that at all. But I think it's quite interesting when you hear him talk about William and Kate. He's not challenged during any of these interviews. There's very much question, answer. There isn't much challenging of what he says. For example, he kind of accuses the media of being responsible, really, for the way in which the pregnancy was announced. Well, some might take issue with that. What he's trying to get at, I think, is the fact that the media would ultimately have found out because of the illness. It wasn't the media who caused the illness, of course. Yes. And you do feel that throughout this interview there might have been a bit of questioning of what he says. But
be interesting, though, who the public prefer to put their faith in, the Prince or the media.
Wait and see.
We'll wait and see. Thank you, guys. Thank you very much indeed. Jacqueline, with the sports news after the break and news from the Australian Open.
Yes, it's been a really gutsy fight.